Well, happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to the Prancing Pony Podcast Plays. Hope you all had a wonderful week and are listening to the music for a third time. Let me stop that. And hope that you all are enjoying a wonderful weekend. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me. How's everybody doing? I realize there's a little bit of a lag, so I won't just start the stream with the game if I don't see responses right away. But any exciting Tolkien stuff in your lives? Any cool things like, oh, I read the Lord of the Rings to my kid for the first time, or I finally started a character on LotRO or something like that. And you'll have to excuse me. It's been one of those days. Dragon Con. I have not seen any Dragon Con cosplays yet. That's fair, Hassel or Hoff. I never know what I should call you. But yeah, the music is nice. There's no doubt about it. I'm not sure I want it playing while I'm talking. But Erica playing LotRO, never a bad thing to do. I'm still trying to figure out how I can convince you all that No Man's Sky is set in Middle Earth so that I can play that and stream that. No, I really enjoy LotRO. It's just that I'm on my No Man's Sky kick right now. It is Sparkling Grape. That's my personal favorite. I like grape. I like orange. There are a couple others I like, but a watermelon's not bad. Yeah. For a brief moment, I thought you said you made a new high elf burger. Most people say Hassel. All right, Hoff. Hoff it is. Pan, good to see you. Nate, willing to be convinced that No Man's Sky is actually set in Middle Earth. The latest update was fantastic. In fact, I have to confess, I've been following some streamers, which I don't do myself, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it because they've updated created a massive update where now you can build ships in a way that you could never do before. It's just, I tell you what, for a game that's almost as old as LotRO, it gets tremendous support. So, but I'm not here to spread the good news of No Man's Sky. I'm instead here to talk about Middle Earth, to talk about Tolkien, and today in LotRO to try to give you some advice. Maybe, I don't know, advice is probably the wrong word because I don't play the game enough and I don't do any end game content, right? I don't do any raids or anything like that. So advice is too strong a word, but sort of a little bit of a basic walkthrough for those of you who have not really gotten into the legendary system or who maybe don't understand it. I'm going to hopefully try to answer questions about that today as we take Hilbern over to the library in Rivendell. Hassel the hoof. Did he say hoof or hoof? Like roof or roof? Yeah, Middle Earth. Well, given how much effort Tolkien put into it, I'd say it wasn't randomly generated. But you never know. I mean, after all, there's something like 19.6 quintillion planets in the game, so it is entirely possible. The No Man's Sky, Lord of the Rings crossover you never knew you needed. Maybe I'll go to a system that nobody's ever discovered, which is pretty easy. I'd say, I think out of the 60 or 70 systems I've been to in my current save, I've been to 3 systems that other people have discovered. They're all, even here 9 years later. And I'll just go to one of those systems and name the planets. I'll make sure one of them is named Arda. And then, I'll go in and name some of the creatures and things like that. A Mass Effect crossover. Oh, a Mass Effect crossover with No Man's Sky. Yeah, that was an expedition way back when you could get the Normandy as one of your frigates. Woot! Thank you, Erica. Very kind of you and very generous. Really appreciate that. That's been pretty wild to watch the streamers who have thousands of people on the stream, to see people doing like 10 gift subs or subbing for 3 years all in advance, or it's like, wow, I guess really people can do this. But thank you, Erica. It's really been fun to do Twitch and to do YouTube. One of these days, maybe I'll do more with it. I don't know. Maybe when the show's over, right? Because I won't have shows to write. Yep. All right. Well, let me go ahead and get started in the game. Do feel free to ask questions about legendaries or about anything that comes to mind. And Katie will be helpful throwing in chat for me so I can see those. In the meantime, I am going to turn off the chat stream. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Bring the screen up for the game. And let me move that over to my other screen here. So I will still have chat up, but either I have to look all the way over here to see it, or I can look right there to see what Katie's sending me. So that's probably what I'll do more often than not. Especially important if, for some reason, the HDMI connection gets lost and we lose the game. All right. Going to unmute here. It might be a little loud at first. We'll adjust as needed. That's probably about right. All right, so when we last left Hilbern on Tuesday night, we had just finished the series of quests outside the door of Moria, enabling me to finally get in. And now that I can do that, I can do some more work with the legendaries. When is Weta going to sponsor the stream? Don't I wish? I don't practice stand-up, Nate. I practice sit-down. All right. Let's take a look. First, let's go and redeem my gifts. So when you're a VIP member, and I'm lifetime VIP, so it's not like I pay for this every month. I paid for it once back in 2017. No. Oh, I'm further back than that. The game is 18 years old. I joined in, I've got my 16th anniversary. So is that 2009? 2009. So anyway, you get these gifts. Every day you get a silver gift. It's usually fairly small, like a tiny Virtue XP or a consumable, like in this case, that makes crafting faster. And then every week you get a gold gift. In this case, usually a larger Virtue XP bunch and some battle potions. Useful things, but I'm going to put those in my consumables storage right now so I don't dirty up my inventory. Okay. And dismiss the Farmer's Fair. As much as I want to do some festival stuff, we're going to talk about legendaries today. All right. Let's take a look real quick, see if there are any questions before I begin. Okay. So here we are in Moria. It is gorgeous. I'm going to miss this place because we're about to go to Rivendell. We're going to use a map item that you can get. You can buy these at, let me show you the way you do it if you didn't have one. I cheated and have a map handy. But let's go ahead and use the skill of traveling to Rivendell, shall we? The guide to Rivendell. Yeah, Hassel, you wouldn't have even been able to buy the lifetime VIP in 2012 because it was already 2008? No, 2007. So it was already 2 years old, 5 years old. So, all right. So in Rivendell, in the last homely house, when they updated this system of legendaries, they created a new space there, and that's where we're going to go. It's called the Tracery Archive, and it's where you go anytime you want to level up your legendary item. Now, if I remember everything correctly, you're leveling it up essentially every 5 character levels from 51 on up. So 51, 56, 61, 66, all the way up to 141. I don't know. Is there 146? I know the cap right now is 150. Well, you know, Hassel, when it comes to the elves, it is a black pit in comparison to, well, this. Plus, you know, let's be honest, the elves have a tiny bit of racial bias. I mean, they named the dwarves the Naugrim, the stunted people, not the people really good with stone. I mean, they did eventually, you know, the Gonhirim, the masters of stone. That's the word horde. That's it. The word horde of Gobetham. The word horde. It's a pretty place. So in here, you have the legendary weapons class items dealer, and then you have all these shelves. Out here are the traceries that are done by class. So you've got champion and captain, guardian and brawler, lore master, rune keeper, mariner, beorning, warden, and hunter, along with minstrel and burglar. If they add another class, they're going to have to figure out where they're going to put another bookshelf. But in the meantime, we'll end up here at the hunter traceries in a little bit. In this other room are ones that are not dependent on class. So these would be your heraldic traceries, your word of craft traceries, and your word of power traceries. And we'll go over those again and what they mean and what they are in just a little bit. In the meantime, somebody's wearing a swimsuit in here. In the meantime, open the forge. This is similar to the forge where we forged this item. Oh, hold on. Do I reforge it now? Oh, because I reforged the bow and I never reforged the sword, right? We called his bow. What did we call his bow? His crossbow. Hilbern's pointy thing when we reforged it. And you'll see here that as I'm looking at it, it is an item level 60, right? Now let's drag the sword over here and we'll see it's an item level 51. It has not been reforged. This gives us a chance to look at reforging again. This is what you want to do when you acquire, and I realize now I acquired this later, which is why I didn't upgrade it. But this is why you want to upgrade or reforge your weapons every 5 levels. So right now, my sword can hold only 2 words of mastery and a word of craft. Those are the only traceries it can carry. My bow, on the other hand, because I have reforged it, has room for a heraldry tracery, and then a word of power tracery, as well as, let me make this a little bigger so I'm not scrolling all the time. And then we have the 2 words of mastery and a word of craft. Okay, so if I have that open, and then I open up the sword, you'll see the big difference. I mean, it just doesn't have enough. So I'm going to go ahead and reforge that. I'm going to take suggestions in the chat for the name, since we have Hilbern's pointy thing, which I just realized now sounds a little PG rated. Hilbern's pointy thing. Really, I didn't mean it that way. Any suggestions for the name of his sword? I will take those suggestions in chat. All right, fire away. In the meantime, I'm going to check here in the chat to see. They call this Last Homely House feel like Beorn's. I think homely, in the way that Tolkien wrote that in 1937, might have carried a different meaning. I think for us, homely in modern context typically means sort of not even like not attractive, right? Like a homely person is not a particularly attractive person, maybe very plain, very simple looking. They're homely. I think when Tolkien's using that word in 1937, he means home-like. All right. So this is the last home-like house. And also, of course, Beorn's house wasn't on the right side of the mountains for that. It's the last homely house before you get to the wilderness. So let's see what else. Yeah. Surprised they never called them the hairy folk, especially since elves have no beards themselves. Got to find where to put another bookshelf. That's very much a Tolkien problem, isn't it? Katie, of course you can participate in suggesting. I'm not saying I'm going to take an actual listen to what you have to say. The stabbing pony, Hilbern's pointy stick. All right, what else? We've got the stabbing pony. I kind of like that actually, Nate. That's all right. Come on, Katie. Throw me a name. Throw me a name. You get a chance to name my sword. Otherwise, Nate gets it at the stabbing pony. Home like. Yeah. Yeah. Call it Lucille. Well, then we have to change the music altogether and get a little blues in there, a little BB King. Name it whatever, lol. Hold on. All right. Katie has spoken. The name you have selected contains vulgarity. Whatever, lol. I did not know that. Whatever, Katie said. Aha! It is whatever, Katie said. Vera. Man, I wish I'd seen that. Vera's a better name. But now I can't reforge it again until it reaches the next level. But don't worry, that'll happen in 5 levels. See, it's too late now. Those are some great names. Vera was good. Vera was good. All right. All right. So now it's been reforged. Now, the other thing that you do here from this person, that is barter items. This is where you would barter if you don't have a legendary in your class. So you would just simply select which legendary class you're in. All right. I'm a hunter, so I'm looking at this. I can choose an axe, bow, club, crossbow, dagger, hammer, mace, spear, sword, right? Whereas if you were, let's say, a captain, you're going to get like a halberd, you're going to get, a spear, a great axe, that kind of thing. Great sword, which is a, two-handed sword, as well as the emblem, which is the other thing that you can get. Now, that's by class, but you also can buy scrolls and enhancement runes. This is where you can buy the maps to get here. Now, the maps cost 200 of this currency. This currency is ancient script. It's available through the legendary track, which I think we can finally make progress on. Yeah, not much, but you get ancient script there. You get ancient script whenever you disenchant tracers you don't want, as we're about to see. And you also get them if you played the game a while back and you have the old legendaries and you just haven't had a chance to. Sorry, Katie, I can't. It won't let me reforge it until I'm at the next level. I really am sorry. Um, you were being snarky. Oh, I'm so surprised. I never would have known ever. Um, all right. So, ancient script you get through various means, but the biggest way, of course, is if you have the old legendaries and you disenchant them. You can get a bunch that way. The one thing to be very careful with about this is that, like a lot of other currencies, but not all, there's a cap. You can only ever have 10,000 ancient script, and it's shared across your entire account. So if you have 6 characters, it doesn't mean that one guy can have 10,000 ancient script and somebody else can still have another 5,000. No, it's 10,000 between you all, between your whole account. That's because you can earn it account wide and you can spend it account wide. If you have 10,000 and you go to disenchant something and it's going to give you 100 ancient script, it gives you a big fat 0. You can disenchant it, but you lose the ancient script. So don't do that. Always watch the cap. All right. Sweet as puppy kisses. Oh, Hassel, you are trying so hard. All right. So that's one of the things you do here is you can buy a Tracery Archive map. I have a bunch of them. I think you can also get them in the LotRO store. There's also Tracery Reclamation Scrolls. Again, you can spend LotRO coins or points to get those in the store, or you can spend 500 ancient script to get them. What those do is enable you to take all of the traceries out of an item. So for fun, because this is the kind of person I am going to to do that here, I'm gonna take some traceries. Do I have any more traceries here? I just have these. That's a rune. Those are runes. Okay, so I've got runes here. I'm going to go ahead and drop that map back in the consumables thing so that I don't lose it. Okay, now I'm going to, for kicks and giggles here, apply a tracery. I'm going to buy one just so we can see how this works. Okay, so go to Scrolls and Enhancements and buy a tracery reclamation scroll for 500 ancient script. So now you see I have 9150 ancient script, but I have a tracery reclamation scroll. Now, if I right click on that, it enables me to reclaim the traceries from one of my items. Now, I don't happen to have any in whatever Katie said. By the way, it's important there's a comma. Whatever Katie said. So I only have them in Hilbern's pointy thing. Let me show you real quick what it would look like if you were doing this and you actually did have a tracery in there. Let's say I had this tracery in there. Then when I utilize that scroll, it'll ask me which one do I want to get rid of the traceries. Okay. In this case, I want to get not rid of, but remove, because then I can put them back in if I really want to, right? But I want to show you sort of the process and how you'd go about choosing your traceries. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it to that one. Are you sure you want to remove all traceries from Hilbern's pointy thing? The answer is yes. It takes a little while. And boom, now I have them all in my inventory. Okay. But now they are not in Hilbern's pointy thing. Now, just because I need to do this and I'm sort of detail oriented this way, I'm going to pay a whopping 10 mithril to remove that useless tracery. All right. So now I have the two items, legendary, set to the right level, or reforged to the right level. They can each hold a heraldic tracery, a word of power, 2 words of mastery, and a word of craft. Same thing here. These have not been interesting. There's nothing in there, but they're showing the levels. I did not know that it could do that. I thought that was related not to the slot, but to the tracery. Perhaps that's a bug. All right. Let's take a look real quick. No, Katie, trust me, you did not wish you had this video as a guide. I'm very, very, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. The first thing I want to do is get heraldic traceries. So let's take a look at the heraldic traceries. The way it works here, they're probably the most impactful broadly on your character. I will say that, you know, shaping it to the way you want to fight is going to be where you pick your others, especially your words of mastery. But heraldic tracery is really just going to be something you want to choose based on your class. So if I choose the heraldic traceries bookshelf, you'll see that I have several pages to choose from. It's overwhelming. There's 12 pages. This doesn't help me at all, right? Well, you can then select from the pull-down menu by level. And you can see for some reason, why does it go from 50 to 86? That doesn't make any sense. It is the slot. Okay. So, it seems odd. All right. Well, so you've got uncommon, rare, incomparable, and legendary. Let me give you an idea of the difference between each one. If we go to just the basic one, and I'm looking at, let's say, the heraldry of the serpent, because I'm a hunter and therefore I want to boost agility and physical mastery, you'll see it's plus 15 agility, plus 73 physical mastery. Then it's plus 17 and plus 82 at the rare level. At the incomparable level, it's plus 19, plus 91. And at legendary, it's plus 21 and plus 100. Now, you can see already that I can't buy this one because this requires a cracked Khazad-dûm tracery. This would be something that you can't just readily get. I'm trying to remember, folks maybe in the chat can help you know where best to get some traceries. Thank you, Katie. But these are the higher levels. And you can see that you just aren't going to always be able to afford to get the most expensive. You can't always get everything in the legendary level. So incomparable also requires a tracery, but you'll see that I actually have that one. That's the one that I earned for killing the Watcher and getting through into Moria. And so I would be able to purchase one of those. Now I happen to have a Heraldry of the Bear, which is useless. Oh, you know what? Oh, there it is. Okay. The Flame of Ankalamir. This little tool is the thing that you get that enables you to disenchant. So I'm going to right click on that. And it's going to ask me, what do you want to disenchant? I want to disenchant the Heraldry of the Bear. And if you look under the text there, it says disenchants into 40 ancient script. So this is why you don't get rid of, throw them away or sell any of your stuff. You disenchant them because you get ancient script for it. It asks if you really want to do that. You say, yes, I do. And I can't because it's locked. All right. How do I unlock that? I have to browse the shop and unlock. Okay, that's weird. Oh, show locked. That's right. Of course, I think Heraldry of the Bear. All of a sudden, I'm thinking you're a bear. That's because my daughter watches Brave far too many times to count. All right, so let's try that again. So disenchant the Heraldry of the Bear, because really I don't need might. That's not going to help a hunter. Okay, anything else that I want to keep or destroy? Ascendant Flame Tactical Mastery. That's useless for me, really. So I'm going to disenchant that one. So I'm going to need another Heraldry. Let's see. Critical rating we like. DOT, Physical Mastery we like. What about these? Suppressing Stings. I don't even think No. Weakness debuff. No. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't use that skill. If I was a yellow line hunter, perhaps I would, right? Quick shot, always a good thing for a hunter to have. Intent concentration, I'll think about that one. And Cry of the Hunter, Daze, and Bubble Potency. I mean, I'll hold on to it, but I'm not likely to want to use that. Okay. Let me pop over real quick and see if there are any questions before I go to the next thing. Can't always get what you want. Pan, I think that's actually where you get them. Yeah, the legendary item reward track. I think there are some instances as well that will reward the high level traceries. Okay. All right. Brave is underrated. Excellent score, by the way. Not just the soundtrack, but the actual score is really, really good. But don't. All right. All right. Let's take a look then. So I have, for each of these weapons, I am going to need one heraldic, one word of power, one word of craft, and then 2 words of mastery. So the words of power and the words of craft are here in this room. So I'm going to need 2 of each, right? One for the crossbow, one for the sword. I already have one heraldic. I'm going to do these by type. This is a word of power. So let's see, move these down. Okay. So what I've just done in my inventory is sort them in the same order that they appear on the list. This helps me sort of visualize what's going on. So the heraldic is on the top row, then the word of power, then the words of mastery traceries, and then a word of craft traceries. And so I'm going to need 2 of each for rows 1, 2, and 4. And I'm going to need 2 of each, or 4 total, for the words of mastery for each weapon. Okay. Now, all right. So we've got one Heraldry of the Serpent. That's actually really the best one. The Sparrow is also very good. The Sparrow is a slightly smaller boost to agility in comparison to the Serpent. Notice that here it's plus 15 and here it's plus 11, but it does give you a bigger vitality boost. So it makes you a little more survivable. So you could go, if you were concerned more about survivability, you might go Heraldry of the Sparrow. But for a hunter like me, I'm going to pretty much go with Heraldry of the Serpent for both of them. See, the others you can see just don't apply to hunters. Lion, Might, Vitality, Physical Mastery, perfect for a champion. Heraldry of the Eagle, will, vitality, tactical mastery. That's going to probably be your like Runekeeper, and probably Lore Master. Heraldry of the Ox, might, vitality, physical master rating. That's probably perfect for a Guardian. The Bear, might, vitality, and outgoing healing. That also, I think, would work well for a Guardian, but also for a Captain who's going to be doing some heals in the group. Heraldry of the Owl, will, vitality, outgoing healing. So, like, say, a Blue Line Minstrel or something like that, a healing minstrel. So, and then you get them again at the next level, right? So, all you get the color is just the difference in the rarity level. So, heraldic traceries. Let's take a look at an incomparable one, because I do have a single rune or a single tracery. A shattered Khazad-dûm tracery. So I want to redeem that to get a higher level, in this case, an incomparable heraldry of the serpent. Okay, so now we have 2 heraldry of the serpents. You'll notice one is just, what did they call it? Uncommon. It's frankly common to me. I don't know that there's anything less. So we've got the uncommon one, which is 15 and 8. And then this one is 19, 11. It's not a huge difference at this level, but I promise you, when you're looking at like, level 141, it's a significant difference, right? So you got 1130 agility versus 1550 agility. So at higher levels, you may want to save up those traceries. So now I've got my 2 heraldic traceries. I really do like this Word of Power one. This is a damage over time, but I think what I want to do is balance that out here. And I'm going to look at Words of Power. And here, once again, they're sorted by level. Okay. There's uncommon, 2 pages of each, rare, incomparable, and legendary. So in this case, I can't do an incomparable anymore. I can only do a rare. So let's see what we've got. Now, I already have one that gives me a damage over time boost, but let's take a look and see what I have here. In this, so that's damage over time is what I have. What I might want is something like either single target damage or multiple target damage. So something like area effect attack damage. Later on, you'll have 2 slots for Words of Power, and that's where you'll have things like, oh, I want single target damage, multiple target damage, crit increase, and DOT increase, or something like that. So again, you'll need to change this as you advance in your levels and as you change your playstyle. You may not be playing the character the way that I might be playing this hunter, right? If you're playing a hunter, we might play very different hunters. So that's why there is no single uniform way for me to say to you, this is the best way. But I would advise that you pick your heraldic traceries based on your class and the skills that that you focus on in that class, or that you utilize in that class. So in my case, agility. All right. Some very kind words, also suggesting perhaps you don't watch much streaming. Louis, thank you. My knowledge of the game isn't utterly unmatched, I can assure you of that. But in the areas that I do feel comfortable, like this, I feel like it's solid enough that I can be a help, and I want to be a help. Hassel, I'd love to do something like that. Unfortunately, I'm also writing a podcast. There's this, but it'll be a lot of fun. All right. So I think let's take a look at page 2 before I make a decision. Partial evade, mitigations, parry, incoming damage reduction. Ooh, ranged attack extension might be nice. So this gives me extra range plus physical mastery, or just single target attack damage. There we go. Physical mastery, single target attack damage. That's going to be the one that's most useful. Okay. Now let me look at the Word of Craft. In this case, I have one that gives me a critical rating. That's actually pretty solid. So same thing, filter by level. So I can't go incomparable legendary because they all require these cracked traceries or shattered traceries. Though now that I think about it, maybe I should check my shared storage to see if I have any of those from, ooh, I do. I have level 50 ones that'll be perfect for him to use. You know what? I'm going to get me a better Heraldry of the Serpent. So let's go ahead and disenchant that one to get me 20. And let's go back in here and go with an incomparable Heraldry of the Serpent. So now I have 2 incomparables. And let's look at Word of Craft. Now, in case of Word of Craft, don't know that I want to go incomparable there, but let's take a look at the rare ones. So what you'll see is these all give you boost to one thing, but what's interesting is down the road. Down the road, when you have, like a capped character at 150, and you're using the 141 traceries, you'll notice that when you hover over them, it doesn't show you when you hover over them. I think it only shows when you've got them slotted in. If you have 2 of the same kind, you get a bonus. If you have 4 of the same kind, meaning 2 on one weapon and 2 on the other, then you get an even bigger bonus. So I'm going to stick with the Empowered Destruction so that we can see if we get a bonus on that. Empowered Destruction gives me an increase to my critical rating, and I'm going to go ahead and barter for that. So now, when I put those in, we'll see. In fact, let's go ahead and equip them. So here's the sword. We're going to go ahead and drop in one of these heraldic traceries. Okay, now take a look at the weapon, or at my stats, what this gives me, right? So this has agility. Hold on, before I add it, this gives me a boost to agility, vitality, and physical mastery. So let's take a look at what agility does. Okay, right now it's at 313, and that contributes a certain number of points to various skills. But let's use one thing as a measure, and that is damage type, physical. Okay, so this tells me right here that, oh no, that's mitigation. My bad. What am I looking for? Sorry about that, folks. Ignore the last 20 seconds. Critical rating, physical mastery. There we go. So this will show you how each of these stats are impacted by something. So for instance, physical mastery right now shows me that my ranged attacks against enemies that are on my level has been increased by 177%. And currently with my criticals, I have a 17.9% chance of hitting with a critical, and the increased damage goes up by 25%, 24.9. So now if I drop in this thing to here, that boosts my agility from 313 to 332, which now means I have an 18.2% chance of a critical. That's almost a 0.5% better. With physical mastery, it goes up again. So, and that's just with one single tracery. So then let's go ahead and add in the damage over time and one word of craft. Okay. Now, I think, will it show me here? I don't think it will. Let's take a look. What about when I add this one and I do the same thing? Heraldry of the Serpent, the single target attack damage, and the boost to critical. So now, thank you, Nick. That's awesome. I'm still learning Twitch, and I'm really excited to see it. But I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. Empowered, it doesn't show me. So apparently, it doesn't happen at this lower level. But eventually, having your words of craft be the same will give you much larger bonuses. I'll see if I can pull up my cap character to show you what I'm talking about. So now we just have to come up with words of mastery. These are ones that are individually skill based. So in the meantime, though, take a look at what's happened. My agility went from 313 to 359 just by putting in those traceries. That's boosted my critical rating by over 200, which means now I have a 19.6% chance of critting or doing a critical hit. And when I do, the damage is increased by 28.1%, which is about 3.5% more than it was without just the traceries. So, you definitely want to boost those stats in order to do more damage. Now, let's go take a look at the actual skills. Let's take a look at the ones we have. I don't really use Intent Concentration. I probably should use Cry of the Hunter a little more. Quick shot damage we're going to keep. So let me go ahead and disenchant these two to get some more Ancient Script. And let's go take a look at some words of mastery. This is where we're looking at specifically organized by class. So you can see all the various classes labeled around the room. So hunter traceries. And even here, there's more organization. It's a little overwhelming. I think especially when they first moved to this system, I know I got overwhelmed by it. But again, filter by profile first. So you've got, obviously they're all hunter. Look at that. You're like, what do I do? Well, look, it's sorted by level, and then it's sorted by the type of tracery: general damage, general utility, and then each of the three types or trait lines, right? The huntsman, which is going to be your yellow line, your blue line, bowmaster, which is your red line, and your trapper of foes, which is your yellow line. Now, I'm a red line, so let me take a look and see what bowmaster skills they have here. And here they are, you'll see the same ones by level, right? So the burn hot damage is at uncommon, rare, incomparable, and legendary. And you can see the cost right there. Actually, Louis, that's a very good question. I don't. The name Hilbern came from looking at the various common prefixes and suffixes that the river hobbits use. I did not do, unfortunately, any sort of in-depth etymology on it. That is something that I may try to see if I can come up with or correct at some point. You can see, though, the vast difference in costs between, let's say, uncommon and legendary. So let's say we were looking at Heartseeker, which I use pretty regularly. The base one gives me an increase of 28% to the damage and also boosts my critical rating by 43 points, which is the same amount, the 43-point boost, as the legendary. In other words, the difference between uncommon, rare, incomparable, and legendary isn't that second stat, it's the first stat. So I go from 28%, 31.5%, 35%, and 38.5%. So it's a significant bump, but it goes from costing 100 ancient script to costing 1,000 ancient script and a cracked Khazad-dûm tracery, which I don't even have. I do have, however, still 2 shattered Khazad-dûm traceries, so I can get 2 incomparable ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go back, though, to general damage, because it's probably where I'm going to find right now, because I only have the 4 slots in total, right? 2 slots on each weapon. I'm going to focus on general damage, I think. When you get more and more advanced and you keep reforging your weapon over and over again, you're going to end up with a bunch of slots. I think I've got 6 or 7 words of power, or words of mastery, I should say, tracery slots. And I'll take a look at that. So, focus spender. No, this just boosts all of the skills that consume focus. I never remember which ones build and which ones spend. But ranged skills, there we go. There we go. Plus 10% induction and focus bow critical multipliers. That could be a useful one. Merciful shot and huntsman's shot cooldown. Melee skills damage. There's a second page. Always look for that arrow at the bottom. Quick shot we've already got. You know what, though? I think I want another quick shot because I use that a lot. And I could put one on. Oh, no, you can't. You're not allowed to do that. I was going to say, I know you can't put them on the same weapon. You can't even equip 2 weapons that have the same word of mastery equipped. So I can't do quick shot on both weapons. So let's take a look at general utility, see what's there. Intent concentration, cry of the hunter, distracting shot, suppressing stings, quick shot focus chance. The huntsman skills, so things like press onward, which is a useful skill that I don't even have. Bowmaster, which is kind of how I'm built. Rain of arrows, there we go. Let's use Rain of arrows damage incomparable. That's going to get me plus 35% damage when I use that, as well as boosting my physical mastery. Okay, so now I've got a quick shot, a Rain of arrows. What else do I use? I mean, I use the trapping, but I'm not going to pay for that, even if I could. So let's go back and do a focus spender and a focus builder. We'll put both of those on. We'll put them both on. That way, no matter which one I'm getting, I'm going to get a boost to agility and a boost to critical rating. We'll do one. Let's see, which ones do I use the most? I use quick shot, long shot. Those are all adding to focus. Yeah. So let's do incomparable on focus builder. Now I'm out of tracery, so I can only go with rare for focus spender. So let's put those on. With the sword, we'll put those focus builder Doesn't really matter which weapon you put it on, by the way. That has nothing to do with anything. And then we'll slot this with the rain of arrows and the quick shot. So now what do? You think, okay, now we're all set. We're ready to go. In the meantime, you might wonder, well, can these get any better? And the answer is yes, they can. You'll notice that the Heraldry of the Serpent is sitting at level 58 of 60. These are at 51, and this one's at 55. If I pull up that sword, they're all going to be lower. They're all 51 because I haven't touched those. I haven't added any runes. If you were here last time, we talked about traceries. Those are the things that we've dropped in that increase your stats. But there's also runes. The runes increase the level of the traceries. So right now I've got some enhancement runes uncommon. Got some enhancement runes that are incomparable. Let me pull some more from my shared storage. If I have any that are specifically to that level, I might as well apply these runes. Those are separate. I'll explain those in a second. I don't think any of these are level specific. Oh, wait. Yeah, here they are. Here are the level specific ones, and I don't have any for level 51. Okay. What you'll see down here, though, are shattered traceries for other levels. So as I move up, if I have a 131 item, I can barter the shattered Gundabad tracery and get an incomparable tracery. But yeah, I don't have any runes for this level, so I'm going to take another couple boxes of enhancement runes. Okay. Before we go any further, this, which you'll sometimes see, is an item that you used to get all the time under the old legendary system, and you used it to apply legendary XP to your item. That whole system's gone now. So when you click on these, it instead adds progress to your legendary items reward track. Now you'll see right now you can't really see it because of the art on the thing here, but that little purple bar will move up microscopically when I apply these. Oh, okay. Not so microscopically. So now, because I've hit the first level on the legendary items reward track, I can claim it. And sure enough, now I have a decorated coffer of ancient script. This is where I remember I told you, be careful about getting ancient script if you're at cap. Okay, I'm at 4720 because I've just bought a whole bunch of traceries. But if you're at 9,700 or 9,950 and you tried to apply something that gives you 200, you'd only get 50. The other 150 would poof, just disappear. So I'm going to right click on that, and now I have 200 more ancient script. In the meantime, let's open up these runes. So what I have now currently looks like one rune that's an uncommon rune, or +1. And then these are +2s, and I have one of them as well. And then I have, it looks like 3 of the +3s. So if I apply this +1 to something like the Heraldry of the Serpent, use it to level up the Heraldry, yes, it now goes to level 52, and you saw the stats change from +19 agility and 95 physical mastery to +20 and 97. So now I want to add one of my +3 runes to that, and it'll go from 50 to 55. So watch the stats. They go from +20 and +97 on the ones that matter. And I can use all 3. Now it's +30 and +144. So big bump. You always want to try to level those up in order to, increase your stats. Far more important at high level. And even more important, of course, if you're doing end game stuff, which I don't do or know how to do. There is, of course, also a simple way to do this, but it costs you points, money, right? So, if I really wanted to see this go up, for instance, how many levels? 2 mithril gets me a level. So if I wanted to max that out, it's going to cost me 18 mithril coins. I hit OK, and now it's at 60. That's the pay to play win, or that's the pay to win model. I prefer not to do that. So I'm not going to do that, but that's how you do that if you wanted to. Yeah, so that's, here I probably should have done that on one of these instead. But I'll get more runes as I go, so I'm not worried about where we're at. In the meantime, just fixing my legendary items that way, my agility has gone from 313 to 366. So that's like almost a 20% increase. Critical rating, physical mastery, all have gone up. And so now when I hit an enemy on level, my damage is increased by 214% as opposed to, I think it was 140 something percent before. Thank you for excusing me while I drank the rest of my Celsius. All right. Now that I've got that done, let's go ahead and catch up on chat. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's gone quite a far back. Been a very busy chat. Okay. Do we have etymology? So today I learned that filter button was there. Yep, that filter button's very helpful. Yeah, Louis, the complexity is certainly there in the legendary system, and in the help me here. What do we call them? The essences. So you'll notice that these things have slots. These are slots for traceries. Eventually, you'll also find that your armor or your jewelry have slots for what are called essences, and those also boost your stats. And then you have things like you can only boost it so far, like you get it to a certain point and there's an effective cap on it. So yeah, there's a lot of complexity in that stuff, but you don't have to always do that. You're in game carrying a bucket of water to mud the pigs. Yeah. Let's see. Need to get someone to plug in. Yeah. Etymology for the name Hilbern. Okay, so now I know where we're at in the chat. I'm just scrolling through real quick. Yeah, burn is a geographical feature. That was kind of my thinking as well. And probably the Celtic origin, especially since it's a river hobbit, feels more likely than a Germanic one. Probably closer to battle, Louis. You're right, because I don't think the river hobbits would know Quenya. Let's see. His mortality is expressed through his ankles. All right. Scrolling. Knees. Oh, man. All right. Let's see. I'm scrolling. There's so many things to catch up on. You guys are doing great. I love it. All right. Katie, if there's anything that I missed, please let me know in our DMs. In the meantime, I'm going to head back to Moria. Oh, wait. I know. We're going to open up some chests. I forgot I was going to do this before. So these are the loot boxes that you get throughout the game. They're constantly coming in. I mean, half the time it's like, oh, great, another loot box. I just roll my eyes because it's LotRO's way of saying, buy some more keys, because you have to buy the keys with LotRO points to unlock the loot boxes. I mean, I don't think you can ever win them, can you? I don't think I've ever seen them as loot. They're always locked and you have to get the keys. So what I've done is I've pulled 2 keys into inventory and 2 Traveler's Steel-bound loot boxes. When you get to level 141, they become Adventurer's Steel-bound loot boxes and they have much more valuable loot in them. But all right, so it always, though, will open gear effective to your level. So if, for example, I went into my shared storage loot and grabbed one of my Adventurer's Steel-bound loot box, notice I couldn't open it unless I was level 141. That's what the red means, minimum level 141. So these others, though, I can open. So we're going to open it. And what do we get? Proceeding will unlock will consume your key. Ba-da-ba. I get a stout hammer of the Traveler, which might be better than my fine Defender's dagger. No, it is not. I got the desk of the able angler. So that's a housing furniture piece. And then I got a tome of veteran fortitude, which will increase my defense, and some motes of enchantment. Now, motes of enchantment are another currency that you get in order to redeem for some like cosmetics and stuff now. Motes of enchantment, I think, Katie, help me remember, motes are the lowest level one. Yeah, because then there's figments of splendor and embers of enchantment. The embers of enchantment are useful now for gear. Once they increase the cap and introduce another currency, it'll just switch to cosmetics. At one point, motes were, for buying end game stuff, and then it became the figments of splendor, and then it became the embers of enchantment. But yeah, so I got some motes which we can redeem somewhere. Katie, help me out. Remind me where I can redeem some, and we'll show people what that's good for. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and disenchant that stout hammer of the Traveler. You'll notice, because it's not as good as my Fine Defender's Dagger, and it isn't. It would give me +2 to agility, which is not very much, but I would lose morale, I would lose crit rating, and I would lose DPS. So we're going to disenchant that, and you'll see right there in the hover over, disenchants into 45 motes of enchantment. So I'm going to disenchant that. And now I get more motes, right? I am going to keep the Desk of the Able Angler and the Tome of Veteran Fortitude. We'll put those in the shared storage in just a moment. We're going to open the other chest and see if we get anything useful there. Maybe a nice piece of jewelry or something that I can use on Hilbern's character. The Shield of the Traveler, which is useless for me because I'm not a warden, so I'll have to disenchant that. The Steed of the Able Angler. I get a new horse. Now, you'll notice if I don't want that horse, I can disenchant that into 400 Figments of Splendor, but always take the horse, as well as some Greater Potions of Power, which I find utterly useless, and 1,100 motes of enchantment. So that was a nice box. I'm going to go ahead. I like that box. That was a nice box. All right, we're going to disenchant the shield. And then I'm going to go into my shared storage consumables, where I'm going to drop the Tome of Veteran whatever into the housing, where I'm going to drop the Desk of the Able Angler. Oh, I already have one? I will tell him, but he already has one. I don't think he'll be very keen. So I'm going to disenchant that to get myself 600 figments. I'm not at cap. Good. I'm going to just toss these. The Greater Potions of Power, blah. I don't think I've ever used a power potion. I always use health potions. All right. I'm going to add this mount to my skills panel. And okay, it doesn't show up automatically. So I need to get, where is he? Steed of the Able Angler. So we'll go outside. We'll show off the new horse. And then we'll go to the Boar Fountain in Bree. In fact, let's just go to the Boar Fountain in Bree, because I'll have to ride from where I arrive in Bree to the Boar Fountain to show you where you redeem those motes of enchantment. And thank you, Katie, for that helpful link. Yeah, the keys are on sale. All right. So let's take a look at this horse that we get, the Steed of the Able Angler. It's going to have some fishing gear on it. Sure enough, oops. Yeah, there's a little fishing net. All right, cute. All right. So what we're going to do now is show you where you would spend those motes of enchantment. I don't have very many. I only have 2,600. Some other time we'll show where we spend Figments of Splendor and Embers of Enchantment. But that way we're dealing with two of the special currency today, right? We've talked about Ancient Script already, and now we're going to talk about motes of enchantment. The auto run is numlock. What I'm doing right now, though, is just holding down the left and right mouse button. If you hold down both of those, it keeps you going. It is which one? Figments of Splendor, and this one, right?
I haven't slept in days.
Yeah. So let's go and get off the horse. His name is Bobber. Okay. Motes of enchantment. Oh, it does get you actual stuff. So Traveler's Gear, heavy, light, and medium. Obviously, what they're talking about here is armor level. So if you're a lore keeper, a lore master or rune keeper, minstrel, you're going to have to select light. If you are a captain or champion or guardian, you're going to pick heavy. I'm a hunter, so I'm going to choose medium. That's the only thing I can get. So this is cosmetic, but it's also, I actually buy useful stuff. So if I want a coffer of Traveler's Jewelry, for instance, good question from Gaming Nate Knight. Are you participating in Oxmoot next week? I am planning on attending virtually. That's the extent of my participation. Unfortunately, it comes at a very difficult time in the schedule. I'm recording 2 episodes of the PPP next week. I'm in the midst of finishing up the writing and recording for Series 12 of the TTT. So there's just a lot going on. But yeah, I will at least be attending. All right. So I am going to buy a piece of, let's see. Yeah. Coffer of Traveler's Jewelry Agility. So now what I have here, you'll see if I right click on it, it's a box, right? So if I right click on it, it gives me a selection. A lot of times boxes will give you selections. In this case, if I back out of this menu altogether and just click X, the box stays in my inventory. I can choose later. But in the meantime, I can see, and by hovering over, which of these is going to be a nice little boost to my existing stats. Probably the necklace, but let's pull up my character stats. The earrings are level 50. You see the item level right underneath the name of the item, and then it's bound to me, item level. So these are 50, but they're blue, 51, 54, 54, and then armor. So probably going to be the necklace, because even though the earrings are a lower level than the necklace, they are incomparable versus the rare of that. And I do like that out of combat run speed boost, though, so maybe the ring is better. Let's take a look. So one of the rings, what would it give me here? Refined Topaz Gold Ring of the Traveler. Gives me agility, vitality, evade, and resistance. Or I get agility, vitality, crit, defense, and fate. I can get a new pocket item if I wanted, but then that would take over Lyredan's Quill. So that actually might be worth doing. It gives me agility, parry, and evade. But I think the best choice is probably going to be the necklace, because Halberad's Trust is great. I love the... no, I really like that out of combat run speed boost. Sorry. So I got to think through which one I really prefer to give up. I'm not going to give up the rings, because obviously here you can compare. I would lose a point of agility. I would lose 2 points of vitality. I would gain crit, and I would gain finesse. At this level, finesse isn't critical. No pun intended, but critical is really nice. So that's not worth spending most of my motes on for that tiny bump. So instead I would look at the bracelets, similar story there. I actually would lose agility and vitality. So let's look at the earrings. What do they give me? Again, less stats than what I have. So agility, vitality, resistance rating, and crit. And this has finesse and physical mastery instead. So you're just comparing and deciding which one do I want to replace, right? Which one gives me the best benefit, compared to what I'm currently using. And in this case, it's probably going to be agility, parry, and evade, finesse, and crit. Yeah, probably gonna be either Lyredan's Quill or Halberad's Trust. All right, I'm going to go with Halberad's Trust. We're going to get rid of Halberad's Trust with the refined, stylish pendant of the Traveler. So if I right-click on this now, it will replace that piece, and then I will simply sell that because it's bound to me, or it's only worth 4 silver, so I'll just throw away Halberad's Trust. How dare you throw away Halberad's Trust? All right. I'm going to catch up on chat again real quick. Dan of the Rings, you saw Bree Crossroads Blue Sky post. Thank you for coming. And Katie, thank you for posting on all those other places that I don't get to go very often. That's so cool. Louis, when I was living in Oxford, you had me there. When I was living in Oxford, my goodness, that is awesome. His old manuscripts and timesheets. I love that. Oh, I think we got to see some of those at the PPP moot. Yeah. That is awesome. Oh, man. Love it. Love it. Oh, Catherine, I'm so jealous going to the UK at the end of the month, doing all the possible Tolkien sites. My resistance rating may just be futile. I love the Star Trek Next Gen reference, Pan. That was great. That was great. Halbrog. She is a great promoter, Catherine. No doubt about it. Katie's fantastic. All right. Since we're here, by the way, have you noticed that we have Pan standing here? Hello, Pan. Let me wave at Pan. Hello, Pan. I shall salute since he's clearly my superior. Humblebee. I love the name. All right. So you'll notice there's also Figments of Splendor Cosmetics and the rotating Figments of Splendor Cosmetics. So the Curator and Myrtle Mint are both here. I don't know that they both always are, but the Curator.
What can I do for you?
Sorry, I meant to click on barter items.
What do you need?
So I can exchange the other types of currency for these on a one-to-one basis in chunks of 1,000. So if I want 1,000 more Figments of Splendor, I can give her 1,000 Embers of Enchantment or 1,000 Motes of Enchantment. And then for those motes, I can buy these items, these cosmetic items, the Golden Forest Defender set or the Brilliant Forest Defender set. Of course, we can also check, right? Cosmetic armor, which set do I like? Do I want the Gray Mountain Stalwart, the Bright Company? The Bright Company is nice, right? So I can get the boots of Bright Company or the pauldrons. And these are going to be cosmetic items. They're only cosmetic. They're not armor. So you can see them, they don't, how do I try them on again? Can somebody remind me how to try them on, or am I able to do that from here? Is it control right click or something like that? Shift control right click. Oh, there we go. Shift control left click. Okay. Cloak of the Sunset Hills. So that shows me what it's like. Okay. And that even allows me to change the color of it too. If I wanted to say, well, what would it look like though if it was in indigo? What would it look like if I were to dye that in black? Okay. It's not exactly huge, but you can see it fairly well. So that's nice. That little, that's shift control left click. So if I wanted to see what the breastplate of the Bright Company would look like, look at that. See, look at that. That's the breastplate of the Bright Company. Now, if I said, oh, I really like that, but I wonder what it would look like in dark green. Well, there you go. So then you're like, okay, I want to get some dark green dye, and I want to make sure I save up 4,000 Figments of Splendor. But then, of course, I also want the cloak and the pauldrons and the boots. So then all of a sudden it becomes, let's see, 13,000. And you can never only hold 10,000 at once. So it's a little bit of a challenge for that. And so it's okay. Yeah. Control Shift left click is what enabled me to do that. Now, Myrtle Mint, similar thing, but she's going to have different stuff, right? So we've already got the steed of the able angler. If I wanted to, I could then complete that set by buying the gloves, the boots, the hat, etc. She'll also sell mounts. Okay, so that steed of the able angler would have cost me 5,000 Figments had I wanted to purchase it. I can get pets like the Tome of the Able Ice Shore Fisher, housing decorations like the chair or the painting for the able angler, that kind of thing. And then let's see, yeah, and then that's it. That's it for those two sets of currency: the Motes of Enchantment and the Figments of Splendor. Embers of Enchantment are a whole different ball game. We'll cover that more when I use an end level or an end game leveled up character. Real quick, just checking over in the chat. It's like watching Alan go window shopping. Oh man, yeah. I do some window shopping, usually not in LotRO. Every so often I'll like pull up websites for car manufacturers I have no business looking at, ones that I'll never buy. I'll be like, oh, let me see the latest Aston Martins. Let me see the latest Ferraris. Oh yeah, how much? Never mind. But it's fun to look at. Yeah, so it is really cool. And speaking of window shopping, Lalia's Market is the other place where you go for that kind of thing. This is where you can take a look at all sorts of cosmetic items. You can actually just see them in the store. I think we've taken a look at this before, but it's worth looking at again. So, this is where you can see what various things look like. Oh, these boots, the ceremonial boots of the Pharaon, or, the boots, the Indomitable Protector, leggings, all right, the leg guards of the Indomitable Protector. So this is where you go if you just want to take a look around at all sorts of different things. If you're really into the cosmetics, like the shoulder guards and things like that, this is interesting. The Lore Keeper's shoulders, or this funny looking, the Stone Reader's shoulders. So there's all sorts of things in here. It's big. You can look at, all the stuff. There's mithril traders everywhere. And I think they are the ones that, yep. So like sell me kites. Do I want a kite? Do I want a night swan? Do I want a sentinel in training? Do I want, and they all cost mithril coins, or I guess that's it. They just all cost mithril coins. Did not know that. Hello, Eobold. Let's see. Robes or cloaks. The cloaks are always great. I love a good cloak. It's probably the most visible piece of your armor too, some really colorful ones. The Wormscale Blade Master's cloak, ones that look like they're glowing like the flames of the deep. So there's just some really neat choices here. The Reveler's Gilded Cloak is pretty. I think I have Dirthal pretty much always wears his, is it this one? Yeah, the Radiant Cloak. That's a nice one. I like that one a lot. So you can see there's also steeds down here. So you can take a look at various, or I'm sorry, warhorse, like, horse equipment. All right. And then there's like housing decorations, paintings. You can get various things for your home here as well. All right. With that said, we've now spent over an hour, so we're probably not going to get much done in Moria. We're going to go to our milestone skill, which is Return to Durin's Threshold in Moria. Oh, was that you, Hassel? Was Eobold? Yeah, that is new and improved Lalia's Market. Thank you, Katie. It absolutely is. All right. So we are back here. And we're going to go ahead and pick up a couple other no, because they're all going to be fairly low-level quests for us at this point. We'll take them just in case.
Khazad-dûm belongs to Durin's folk.
Bedbugs. Ew!
We will reclaim Khazad-dûm for Dine Ironfoot.
Why is my auto attack not working? There we go. I got a deed for that. I actually slew some Grodbeg. All right. We'll see what Rothulf has to ask me, as well as Athils. He wants me to plant a banner at the grave of some fallen dwarves. And I don't even know where Athils is. But let's take a look at the map real quick. This is where things get so... Oh, goodness. The maps. Oh, I just PTSD on the Moria maps. This is Moria, but it really isn't Moria. It's like a 2D representation of something that kind of resembles the 3D map that is Moria. So we're in the Great Delving, and we're at the far western end of it right here. And then we're going to go eventually, book 2, Echoes, let's see. Oh, okay. So the two places that he wants me to go to, you'll see are way over here. One is in the Dolven View, and one is down here. It looks like probably the Silvertine Lodes at the Deep Descent. All right. So in the meantime, welcome to Moria, who wants me to help those people. Honoring the Fallen is, behind me. Plant a banner at the grave of the fallen dwarves. It's to the northern edge here. The ones that died fighting the Watcher, for instance. All right. Let's go turn that in. If I had $1 for every time I got lost in Moria, I could buy yet another house in the game. I could probably buy an actual house. Maybe not in California, but, somewhere. Somber moment here. The grave. The dwarves, the fallen dwarves. All right. Also, that's what you get for throwing rocks. Yeah, I didn't have to bury their dead. That helped. Dig tiny little holes. All right, Rathulf. We've honored the fallen, sir.
We will reclaim Khazad-dûm by dying iron butcher.
All right, Athils is just over there, so we'll head over there. He's like up and around. An Iron Garrison guide. Who won't help me much more than the map. The Dolven View and Deep Descent are both to the east. Climb up the steps. Keep watch for other guides to show you the way to the other camps. Katie, remind me, have those guys always been there? I don't remember them. But in the meantime, holy cow, isn't this place impressive as heck? I mean, look at that. The work that they had to do in this place. Diggy, diggy hole. Diggy, diggy. Yes, I don't remember there being Iron Garrison guides all over the place. All right. We're going to go, though, and see if we can assist Athils. So we can knock out that Welcome to Moria quest before we head further in to do the rest of Forward to Book 2. Durin's Threshold, the North Wing. The North Wing! And look, we can actually look out over the delving, right? We just came up that staircase. All right. Or you can be a guest in the North Wing. All right, Athils.
I
know, Hilbern. Rough start here, to be sure, but is this not an exciting time? Already we've excavated these most impressive forges. Help me set up shop? Be careful. Fires are hot. Dwarves of Moria knew what they were about when they built these. So we're going to collect dull blades so they can go and sharpen them, see? That's our job. They added guides, stable masters, some random quick horses. I like it. I did not know that. Thank you for that information. Makes sense. I'm thinking of the other caves that are, Katie, we've spent some time under Umbar, and how the caves there are so much more well organized than Moria. And a lot of it has to do with the stable masters. Sounds like a dull job. Dum-dum. All right, here's some blades. Use the forge to restore the blades. Oh, man, I have to sit here and wait for it to make 6. It's funny because I'm VIP, I also have faster crafting. So I'm used to my crafting bar going very, very quickly. Oh, I have to do it 6 times. I can't just like auto repeat. So much to do. We can have 1,000 dwarves and still not have enough hands. To think I shall forge steel in Mithril in the great halls of my forefathers. Let the hammers ring! Let our enemies quail at the sound of our steel. It won't be long now, lads. These halls shall be ours again. Oi, curses! I've only got 2 thumbs and that's 1 down. Well, that's a bummer. All right, let's take a look real quick at the chat. I'm getting some things. Louis says you're a property mogul running around to poor inspecting Shire folk. Oh, yeah, it's like an Airbnb scam she's got going on. Recreated the Hilbert and Lindleby. Yeah, yeah. Lotho is savage, yes. Watch those crates, lad. You're like a poor sort, I'll pile into them. I love how this guy's doing my job. He's just standing there yelling, you do this, you do that. Oh, it's going to be a bit. Let's get this done. Yeah, mighty nice being a supervisor. That's fine work, Good River Hobbit. I can tell this was forged in Moria. The improvement's remarkable. All right, done. We're going to go use our single mithril to go talk with Thormoth. I mean, he's right down the hall, but.
Return soon to his home.
So you'll notice that said legendary item experience was what I got. That's furthering along these along this reward track. So they last a long time, usually around 3 months. In this case, I've got 2 months and 20 more days to go. And so as you go further and further, the more experience you get, and this is account wide, the more stuff you get. So you can go all the way up to level 100 on the track. And after that, you just get coffers of legendary items. But I've never made it that far. I think you'd have to play an awful lot to get there. But I do like that, if you get to like level 50, you usually get a very cool seasonal thing. In this case, the legendary Coffer of Harvest's Bounty, which is a housing bundle of stuff. But it's also, this is really where you get the traceries and runes, but you just get those by playing. So you get them, and that's the way to do it. All right. What's Thormoth want now? To be Thickfist. Thickfist. To be Thickfist. It could have been worse. At least it was Thuckfist, and it could have been worse. Thickfist. To be Thickfist. Can we not name these guys something really close to? Wow. All right. It was truly a slip of the tongue. It could have been worse. The cozy hobbit-sized room sheet advertised more like a dim cave. 2 stars. Yeah. 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 I did say Thuckfist, like Brupper and Suckfist. Yeah. Yeah. Can't edit a live stream. All right.
If it were not for the prospect of finding Mithril, I would not have come here.
So he's got 2 quests for me. One is a deep place where I'm supposed to look for a guide by the name of Dagfinn in Shemeldurge. I go east from here and then turn north at my first opportunity. And if I happen to pass the Chamber of Deep Thought while I search for his friends, would I mind investigating it? Might have some relics. So, Deep Place and Deep Thought. If I turn those on, a Deep Place is right up there, you can see. Turn north at your first opportunity, like he said. Deep Thought is right over here, but something tells me it's probably more like here and then up 2 levels and across and then down a level and over and then down 3 levels and then up a level because the map is that way. Yeah, it's pretty bad. All right. And then, of course, we're making our way slowly over to the Dolven View where we'll have one of those 2 that we got to talk to. So let's start with Deep Thought. Oh, there's a dwarf axe. This gives me a quest to find the owner of the dropped axe. And if I cover up in pursuit, sure enough, there he is a little bit to the north. But in the meantime, we're going to still try to do Deep Thought if we can. I think this is that chamber, the Chamber of Deep Thought. You see a curious cocoon near the back of the chamber. That's going to be a spider of some kind. What is that noise? There it is, the sulking glass spider. Deed bestowed. Defeat spiders in Moria. I can return to Thick Fists. I'm going to say that name right every time now. Since he's right here, I'll turn it in. So I can get some gloves, which are really weak compared to what I have. I can get, I love the name of this though, Thick Fists, Thick Fists. Say that 5 times fast. No, I don't want that. Or the Dwarf Apprentice's Offerings, which gives me a rare piece of might-based armor. I don't really want might-based armor, but whatever, I'll take it. And yeah, it gives me all these choices. I should have taken the gloves because those I could sell for more than that piece of armor. All right. So now we're going to go find the owner of the dropped axe. So now we're in slightly less, shall we say, polished areas of Moria. Ooh, okay, lots of enemies nearby. So clearly, even though the map suggests he's like over here, that means I'm going to have to go way down there to find him. I don't really need to attack the Grodbog, so I probably won't bother. Ah, I can see him on the map. That's Jarmar. Is that the owner of the dropped axe? I think it might be. And get a guide, an Iron Garrison guide, who will tell me how to keep going. Be cautious on this leg. It is dark. Travel northeast through the darkness, following the paths as they descend to buildings made by the ancient dwarves. There must be the guy who lost his axe. Oh, maybe not. Goblins here pose a threat to all who travel from Durin's threshold onwards into Moria. I'm here to warn folk who may yet be unawares of the goblins of Snaga Mouthwool. So with him, I can defeat 4 goblin messengers, 10 Moria soldiers, and reclaim 8 stolen coins. So you can see that's all in this area, which I've got to go through to get to this guy and to this guy. So sometimes taking the quests is a good idea. But basically, once I get out of this area and I'm over, you know, in what was it, in the Delving View where the Silvertine loads, I'll get rid of any quests that I haven't finished because there's no point. Slapping feet behind you in Moria, definitely. Thick fists, thick fists. That's what I need. I need thick fists, thick fists. The rest of the goblin tribes will hear of your incursion. Oh, let's use Rain of Arrows. Oh, lots of things popping in the chat here. Don't say that. I'm not going to say anything 5 times fast. I've learned my lesson after messing up Tubi's name. It's supposed to be a family-friendly live stream. It is. It is. I just misread his name. His name is Tubi Thickfist, and the U in Tubi made me Tubi. Yeah, which could have been worse. Like I said, could have been worse. It's all like I've got to comfort myself with something. I love how the rest of the goblin tribes will hear of your incursion. It almost sounds like something an HOA manager would say.
This isn't your neighborhood. You don't belong here.
All right. Let's see. I still need to still kill 2 more soldiers and find the owner of the dropped axe. The owner of the dropped axe can't be too far from here. Ah, looks like he's up here somewhere. No, he's up or down. He's down. He's in here, I think. All right, so now I will have defeated enough Moria soldiers, but as you can tell, it's going to take defeating more Moria soldiers. So I'll be talking to some guy named Wegill on the other side. Ah, I can't get in. How do I? See, it's the three-dimensionality of this place that drives me nuts. Not in line of sight. That's because he ran away. It's not my fault. There's Wegill on the other side, who I want to turn these into, but I keep going further and further away from the owner of the axe. Well, maybe he'll just have to do without it.
These halls will be
Legendary item XP.
dwarves must fight for dwarves.
Thick Fists Thick Axe. Help me. Somebody help me. That is a thick axe. They named it that. Don't blame me. Of course I have to get Thick Fists Thick Axe.
May Durin return soon to his halls.
I like big axe, and I cannot lie. Well, look here. I always suspected those goblins were thieves and worse. Oh man, she brought out the last name. I'm in trouble now. Thick fist's sake. All right, fun times. Hey, by the way, Wegill, is this your axe? Could this be your axe? I'd really like it to be your axe because I don't want to have to try to go back and find this guy. I'm not going to keep looking. I will, however, seek Dagfinn because he can't be that far away. Ooh. Resources. Except I think, honestly, I've finished that tier. Yeah, Khazad. I have finished the Khazad tier. So technically, I don't need to be getting any ore until I get to Kalinard Skarn, which is a ways off. That's past Moria and I believe past Lorien, though I may be wrong. Okay, this is not where I wanted to go. See, Moria kind of sucks in this regard. Just dead ends after dead ends. Here we go. Up. Up is where we want to go. I say. Up, I say. And this must be where I'm going to find Dagfinn. I've discovered Shemeldurge, and Dagfinn is nowhere to be found. He must be beneath me. There he is. Think I could fall that far without dying? Yeah, me neither. I'm not going to be tempted by that. How do I get down there? Okay. A pile of ilex wood. That's nice. Okay. Hey, Dagfinn.
The time has come to drive forth the orcs from our kingdom.
You startled me. I'm sorry. I just cannot stop hunting. There must be treasure in this room, stowed away somewhere. My father gave me a map of this place passed down from the time when the Longbeards inhabited Moria. Notes of great promise in this hall. I meant only to come in and explore, but I cannot walk away when there is hope of buried treasure. You might want to see somebody about that, actually. If you can't walk away, call Gambling Anonymous at, I mean, seriously, poor guy. I wish I knew what face that was. Dwarves have a habit of overestimating the thickness of their axes. Oh, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut because I'm just not going to get nothing but trouble after this if I'm not careful. Tell Dagfin that Shemel Durge appears to be as empty as it looks. Hey, man, you might want to just stop. I cannot believe it. I've treasured that map all my life. Cannot accept that it would lead me here only to find this hall empty. I'm not going to return to Tubi yet. Not until I've found another milestone so that I don't have to journey through there again. All right. So ever forward. Actually, maybe I will find the guy. Moria is just such a mess. Like, somebody should develop an actual readable map. I'm looking over here in the chat to see. Wow. Didn't have a problem with Durin's. And you get on me for this stuff. You get on me. All right. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to find this guy. There he is. A chieftain.
The day of the dwarves.
Yeah. So I return to Tubi, or follow the road further into Moria. Another axe? Oh, no, that's the first axe. Oh, and I'm back to seeing Tubi, and I didn't even mean to. Well, that's fun. Might as well turn him in, right?
I'm not sure Khazad-dûm can be restored.
Now I find a goblin tribe.
I doubt that Lord Balin still lives.
It's the same tribe we just killed. I just went the wrong way the first time. That is funny. That is really funny. All right. Thin toes, thin sheath. All right. I'm trying to think here. It's 20 till. Will I have enough time? Yeah, I think so. So see, I was supposed to go this way, and I would have found that guy right away. Instead, I went this way, and I found the goblin tribe, which is fine. We'll find them again. And by find, I mean massacre. This is the right area, right? What do I need to do to find it? The goblin camp can be found. It's asked you to locate the goblin camp. Well, I kind of have. It's right here, Tubi. This is what happens when you actually do things out of order. You discover the goblin encampment. A deep, gruff voice barks sharp orders. Speak with the dwarf near the goblin camp, who I already talked to. It's embarrassing when you complete quests out of order. Doran's beard. And because of that, I've already done it, so that's good. I don't have to do it again. Follow the road further into Moria. I'm just going to port there because I'm lazy today. So what we've done is we've ported from over here where I was messing around to here, which is about halfway to the Dolphin View. And there's a guide. See the paths to the east? If you take the southern path upward and follow the winding road, you'll come to the Dolphin View. The deep descent is in the Silvertine Lodes south of the Dolphin View, but be careful. There's a great fissure in the road just to the east. Step carefully around it. All right. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk to Swerther and turn in Ever Forward.
These halls will be great once more. Stand
And here I'm supposed to look for relics in the Vault of Durin, collect Grodbog scent glands. Sounds like a wonderful job. And defeat 12 Gredbig in the Palace of Nine. Well, this poor Grodbog has rocked the wrong direction. Oh, he's a little tougher to kill than I would have thought. All right. So that's where I have to kill them. The noise of the Gredbig, and also where I gather the whatchamacallums. It's Moria, no judgment, Alan. I can judge you for this too if you want, though. I see. So I did Moria when I was free to play. That's always tough. Moria was always my favorite part of the Fellowship. It's a great part of the story. I really enjoyed those chapters. An Ancient Hope is to the south. Okay. All right. I think, though, this might be a good time to call it. So from here, so this way would go back to the Great Delving. And this way we'll go back, further into Moria. But we're going to go this way into where the Gredbig are. And we're going to go this way to the Vault of Durin down here. So that's what we'll do when we come back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Let me go ahead and exit the game. And come back to this screen. All right. And let me turn on that chat overlay. So now we can get, everybody from YouTube and Twitch on the same virtual page. And I don't need to wear my headphones anymore. Whew. All right. Good stuff. Well, let me just kind of catch up on chat a little bit and see what we've got going on. I know Katie's done a great job of getting everything to me, but sometimes it goes so fast. So I just want to make sure I get it all. Dan of the Rings claims no responsibility for anything. That's my kind of guy. Clearly meant to be. Yeah. Also, we're enablers. Yeah. Whose ankles were rehoused by Mandos? No, their nature changed by Eru. I want to know about that. All right. Frodo and Gimli at the Mirror in the films. That would have been a wonderful scene. That would have been great. The Mirror is wonderful. I think we could see the Mirror in Rings of Power. Yeah. Certainly as they flee Moria, I would love to see them stop by the Mirror on the east side of the Misty Mountains. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, what a scene that is. Well, thank you, Louis, for being here. Appreciate you coming by. Everybody, actually, for that matter. I just happened to see him saying he has had a lovely time once again. Nate, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it has been fantastic. Really looking forward to more of this. Moria of this. I am going to eventually, obviously, do other things than Lord of the Rings Online. It's just fun, right? It's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it. Looking forward to, working on Moria. But as soon as I do get a chance to chat with some of the other people that I work with, like Don Marshall, Matt from Nerd of the Rings, we're going to see if maybe there's a chance to do some more Magic the Gathering, or maybe fool around with Return to Moria, the Dwarven crafting survival game. Maybe I'll go back and do a little Shadow of Mordor and, sort of Assassin's Creed Mordor is what I call that one. But yeah, there are some other games, and we'll take a look. Should be a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully there won't be any more to be thick fists out there. That was enjoyable, kind of. I may live to regret that. I don't know. But thankfully, Like I said, it could have been worse. That's actually another, we've got several, shall we say, subtitles here at the PPP, right? Prancing Pony Podcast, We Digress. The Prancing Pony Podcast, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. The Prancing Pony Podcast, it could have been worse. That fits. I like it. The PPP, it could have been worse. All right, everybody. Thank you again for a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And for those of you who are able, I'll see you back here Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific for more of Hilbern's Adventures in Moria. Have a wonderful night.